So, what in the blue hell went wrong? Well, a lot of things went wrong. So, that's a wrap on Provincials 2025 and a wrap on my season. It looks like it wasn't the ending I wanted, and it wasn't the ending that I had hoped for. And I'm not going to sit here and take the overly positive look at it. I know that that's the way I should look at it. I know that's the way that a lot of other people have told me to look at it, and I do appreciate all of that, but this sucks. Like, flat out sucks. I don't like losing. I also don't like losing in the way I did lose, and it's a tough pill to swallow. It's not what I had wanted. It's not the way I'd wanted the day to go. It's not the way I expected the day to go. And there's a lot of reasons for that I'll get into sort of event by event, and then looking at the day as a whole and where I go from here. But first of all, I just wanted to give a massive shout out and a massive thank you to everybody who helped put this show on. Thank you to Andrew, Ann, Pat, the SCC crew, every single volunteer that showed up to help that day, whether they were helping to run booths, whether they were helping athletes, they were running events, they were resetting events, whatever they were doing. If they were in an orange shirt, thank you. Because of the volunteers and because of the people that help put these shows together, that's what makes the whole thing go round. And honestly, the last 2 years, the last two provincial events that I've done have run incredibly well. They were incredibly easy to follow. Last year at Provincials, they gave us these big easels that they put at the end of each row, each lane, that showed us who was coming up and in what order, which was great to follow. This year, they had a live Google Doc going of updated standings and points. Thank you to the crew that were putting those in such a timely manner. So it made it really easy for the athletes and for the fans and people watching or people trying to follow along. It made it easy for them to follow along as well. I absolutely love that. So thank you all to everybody who did that, everybody who made the day go the way it did. Congratulations to all of my fellow competitors, to the competitors in all the other groups, anybody who showed up. Really, whether you won a podium spot, whether you got an invite to the Arnold, whether you got an invite to nationals, whether you showed up and just wanted to show up to compete, it doesn't really matter. Congratulations. Thank you all for being there. Thank you to my fellow competitors as well, who, even though we were competing against each other, were right there in my ear yelling at me to do better, or to do one more rep, or whatever the case was, because that's the community. That level of support is the community. And I say this all the time, and I'm going to say it again here. Part of the reason it's like that, not the only reason, part of the reason it's like that is we want to win, but we want to beat each other when we're at our best. We don't want cop-outs. We don't want, easy wins or, oh, he got hurt and therefore I won. That's not what we want. We want to beat each other when we're at our best, and we want to see the best from everybody. So thank you to everybody who made that possible. So without further ado, and any more ramblings on my part, let's go over the events, the good, the bad, and the ugly. So the first event was the axle clean and press. We had to clean every rep, which was fine by me. It made no difference in the end, I don't think. This was the event that I felt was going to set the tone for the day. I wasn't looking forward to it. I'm not a bad presser, but the axle clean and press has been a struggle for me all season. I had an injury in this wrist, right in and about here, and then on the underside, like all through the forearm type thing. It made grabbing the axle really difficult. And that's usually the arm that I do on the under. When I do my over-under, this hand is over, this hand is under, and then I will clean it and then press it. So going into the weekend, I had to change a few things. I changed that. I made my right arm the underarm and that arm the overarm, and that seemed to alleviate the pain and made it easier to clean it and get it onto my belt. So that was great. That was a big win. I also started to work more on attacking it, not letting it sit as long on my belt or on my stomach, just getting it up into the clean position, because that had been another struggle for me when we did Battle at the Brink. I was too meticulous. I was taking my time and losing too much energy and getting into my head while it was resting there. So I needed to just attack it and just go for it. So training this with the new over-under technique was great. The other thing I did was I ditched my elbow sleeves. I traditionally press with elbow sleeves. They're actually knee sleeves that I wear on my elbows. I traditionally press with those. What I found was, because of the way I'm built, because I've got these short, stocky little arms, that impeded my ability to really clean it properly. I couldn't bend my arms very well. So I ditched the elbow sleeves with the thinking that, yes, they would help with the press, but if I can't get it to the rack position, I'm not going to press it anyway. So what difference do the elbow sleeves make? None at all. So I ditched the sleeves. 2 weeks before the event, I did this weight in training. I got it up. I got it into the rack position, which was great, but then I couldn't press it. I got it almost there twice, but couldn't press it. I actually wasn't defeated at that point, because I thought, this is great. I can get it to that point. I have a deload week coming up, which I did. I figured it would be there on comp day. That's kind of how I was looking at it. And on comp day, it was. I got it up, got it to the rack position, and then pressed it. I'm going to say easy for me. It doesn't look that easy. In my head, it was a lot easier than watching it back. I was like, yeah, that definitely was a 1 rep max. But it went up. And that was huge for a couple of reasons. One, it was a PR. And that's great. I'll take PRs when and where I can get them. Comp, gym, doesn't matter. The other reason it was a big deal was so many people had either opted not to do the clean and press or zeroed it. And I was the last guy to go for a change. That rarely happens for me. So as I walked up, Anne, who was our head judge, told me, you just need 1 rep. And 1 rep would have secured me 4th place and given me a lot of points. And sure enough, that's what I did. I got the 1 rep. I was super hyped for the PR, and I was super hyped mentally, knowing I'm starting the day with 8 points in 4th place. That's another win. That's huge. I just had to kind of maintain being average the rest of the way. I tried going for the 2nd rep, but obviously it wasn't there. So I just, decided not to worry about it. 4 reps won the event, which was Tyler. Scott got 2nd with 3. Tim got 2. And then myself and Paul and Ryan each got 1 rep. So that gave us our 8 points going into the 2nd event. So 2nd event, farmer carry for max distance. It was a 50-foot course. We were to pick it up, take it across the line at one end and go back the other end for as many times as we could in a minute. If we dropped it between the pylons, that was our run. That was it. Wherever it dropped between the pylons was your run. So this is an event that I had again trained for, was ready for. Good news for me was the handles we were using at Provincials are almost exactly the same as the handles I was using in training. They're front loaded instead of top loaded. The Rogue ones, I think the handles are a bit different, but the pick felt the same. I'd have to really measure to know, but it felt the same. So I was fairly confident going into it that I'd get at least a run, at least a full run. That was my plan. I figured if I could get a full run, get 50 feet, that's about average. That'll be really good points for me. It didn't happen. I got 33 feet, 10 inches, and they rolled right out of my hands. And it could have been a strength thing. I had done 50 feet in training, so I'm not thinking it was a strength thing, although doing it right after the axle, maybe. I also didn't do the liquid chalk, dry chalk combination. I only went with dry chalk. Again, might have helped a bit, but whatever it was, I wasn't happy. I knew I had 50 feet, but then I didn't. So if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas, wouldn't we? So that hurt. That was a big blow mentally, and a big blow in the points too. I ended up getting, like I said, 33 feet, 10 inches. That got me 10th place and only 3 points. So now I've only got 11 points after 2 events. Not where I wanted to be. That event was won by Scott, who got 195 feet. To give you a comparison of what my 33 feet looks like, he ran out of time. I'm pretty sure he got the full minute at 195 feet before they said that's enough there. Zach Carson had a really good showing. He got 150 feet, 3 full lengths in that time. So that was a good placing for him. So 4 guys got over 100 feet. And there were obviously 2 guys below me after my 33 feet. But again, a full run would have given me 2 more placings up. Would have been 5 points instead of the 3. So might have helped going forward. But that was the Farmer Carry. I had my best event, favorite event coming up, and that was where I needed to show up. So, yoke deadlift for reps, 575 pounds. I had been training on the Rogue yoke at the gym. I have a Bells of Steel Rogue at my house that I've been using as well to train on. And then the one at the gym I was training on. The difference being the Rogue yoke is a 3-inch crossbar, where the Bells of Steel yoke is, I believe, 2.5 inches, maybe. It's 2 point something inches. It is noticeably smaller. And those were the ones we were using. We were using the smaller ones. I don't really think it made a difference in the long run. I don't think whether it was 3 inches or 2 inches, it didn't really matter at the end of the day. I was ready for this. This was going to be an event that I needed to put up big points in, especially after an abysmal Farmer Carry. I had to put up big points here. Last year at Provincials, the car deadlift, I got a lot of good points. I got 10 or 11 reps on it, which was a top 5. I want to say top 4 finish on that event. Got me really big points. And again, I needed to do that here. This was my chance to climb back into it. I ended up getting 6 reps, which was, and there was no more. There was definitely not more than 6 reps there. I tried the 7th, but I definitely didn't have it. And I thought, okay, this is good. This puts me kind of back into it. Scott ended up winning that event with 9 reps. I was watching from a distance and I kind of knew he was going last. I thought, okay, wherever Scott stops, we'll know that that's what the top rep was. And it was 9. He ended up finishing with 9. Bo finished with 8 reps, which was good for him. He got 11 points. And then Tyler pulled 7 reps, which was good for 10 points for him. So my 6 reps got me 9 points. And then suddenly I was back in at 20 points. After 3 events, I was now tied for 5th. I just had to be average. 2 events to go. I needed to stay middle of the road. Average on both of those, or even maybe a little bit better on the next one, and below average on the third one. And I was headed to Calgary. I felt really good. I was feeling good physically, mentally. I was into it. And then it all changed. So, 4th event, Sandbag carry into heavy sled drag. This was one that I was prepping for a lot. I was working on my conditioning. I knew conditioning was going to be a big issue on the day, and I was trying to get as ready for this as I possibly could. I worked on picking my sandbag because sandbag picks for me historically have not been good. They've been a struggle because of the way I put together, and a confidence thing. Always worried about my biceps because I have bicep issues. I changed how I pick the bag. Instead of picking it up long ways and holding it this way, the long way that way, I turned the bag so that I was picking it up. I found out on the day they call it the pill pick, because you pick it up like a big pill and carry it. The reason I did this was because I didn't have to load it over anything. I wasn't carrying it down a run and putting it on a platform or putting it over a yoke. I just had to get down the run. I was way more confident in training, just picking it up and going that way than I was the other way. So I knew that was going to be huge because I had to get to that sled as fast as possible. So that's what I did. Whistle went, I picked it up, and I was gone like a bat out of hell down the run. Got to the sled in good time, picked up the handles, and slipped. Feet went out from under me enough that it slowed me down. I could not get the stupid sled started. I was quickly running out of energy. My legs were blowing up. I was blowing up. And then I just decided to try to brute force it down the run. I just pulled it in quick jerks, moved back, pulled it in quick jerks, and moved back. I stopped at one point because I swear I heard a whistle. I hear whistles way too often. I had that on other events too in the past. I just need to listen to whatever my referee is telling me to the right. In this case, it was Anne. I got it down the run in 58 seconds. I believe my final time was 58.31 seconds. And that sucked the life out of me. That was quite possibly one of the worst things that could have happened. And honestly, if I could put how my day went into one event, it would be that one. Because the sandbag, much like the axle to start the day, went really well. But then the sled, like the rest of the day, ground to a halt. I ended up getting only 3 points on that event. Again, a little bit faster here and there would have been a difference, would have been a huge difference on that sled. Fastest time was Scott, no shock there, 30 seconds for Scott. It was, I mean, he was just quick. It was wild to watch him run with that. So that sucked. That dropped me out of 5th and into 7th place going into the last event, which was not my best event, not even close to my best event. And it was going to be an uphill battle from there. Last event on the day, single arm bag toss, 40 pounds over 15 feet. And I am not going to lie to you. One thing I'm going to do on this channel is I'll never lie to you about any of this stuff about how I'm feeling, because I want that transparency. And yeah, I was on the verge of a mental breakdown. I really was. I was now suddenly in 7th place, looking up at guys ahead of me that were good bag throwers, guys below me that were good bag throwers, and I am not. I mean, I suck at it. That's just how I feel. It's not even how I feel. That's what happens. You look back at any bag event I've done, I get to like that 35, 40 pound range and I'm cooked. That's it. If it's below that, I'm good. In training, I got up to 35 pounds on the single arm and I was fine. Put that extra 5 pounds in, it may as well be a cement block because it's not going anywhere. And sure enough, that's what happened. I got 0, a big fat 0. My streak of going to an event and zeroing at least one event continues. It looked like this was going to be one that I at least finished every event, and I did not. So that sucks. You can't zero an event and podium. That's one thing. You can't zero an event in this group and finish top 5. It's just, some people I know did. Mason didn't finish top 5, but he got a qualifying spot, even though he opted not to do the axle clean and press, but he made up for it with a bunch of other really good events. And I didn't. And that hurts. It sucked. It sucked the life out of me. That event finished. I stayed around to try to cheer on guys as best I could. I tried not to have my own issues bleed out onto them and into their moment, because it's not on them. They're winning and doing their best. And I know I sucked at hiding it, even though I tried. So that was it. That was the end of it. I finished in 10th place, tied. Well, I was tied for 10th, but the farmer carry was the tiebreaker. So I finished in 10th place. And that was it. That was Provincials. So, what in the blue hell went wrong? Well, a lot of things went wrong. If you look at my let's say last year and this year, really, of competing, when it comes to static events, log press, now really axle clean and press, deadlift, squats, you look at those events, I'm a top 5 athlete. I firmly believe that. Top 5, top 6. Yeah. No, maybe not top 3, but I'm a top 5, top 6 guy in the static events. If I have to move, bottom 5, bottom 3 based on how Saturday went. I just don't move well. My conditioning's garbage. I've tried to work on my conditioning. I tried to work on my conditioning this season. Obviously, it wasn't enough. Obviously, I need to do better. My initial thought was, okay, drop 10, 15 pounds off this frame, go from 260, walking around at 267, 268, down to 250, 255. That'll probably help. Would I lose a lot in strength? I don't know. I don't know what the ratio is. I don't know how much I would lose in power by dropping down that weight. That was my initial reaction. I thought, well, maybe I competed too much this year, but I didn't. I'm not even going to accept that as an argument, because I did the same amount of shows last year. I did Weight Pit, I did Muskoka, I did Brink, and I did Provincials. I did the same thing last year and I got to Nationals. Did the same thing this year and finished at 10th out of 12. So I'm not willing to accept that, oh, well, if you'd only done one show to get your qualifier and then prepped for Provincials, maybe. Then again, maybe not. So who knows? So what do I do? What's next? I have a powerlifting show in September I've signed up for. I'm going to do that because I'm going to end my year on a powerlifting level instead of this. And I'm going to hope that it goes better than this to at least end on a bit of a high note. And then after that, I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not sure if I'm just going to stick with powerlifting. I know there's people out there, and I've talked to them, that think I should just stick with powerlifting, because I am a better powerlifter than I am a strongman. That's not up for debate. That's not just hyperbole. That's not me just putting myself down. You look at the numbers, I'm a numbers guy, I'm a statistics guy. You look at that, and that's how it is. I am a much better powerlifter than I am a strongman. And that translates into my strongman shows, because statically I'm very good. Mobility wise, I'm garbage. So I know those people would rather me just say, well, strongman was fun. You know, we had our fun goofing around. Ha ha ha, lols. Let's get serious again. But that's not where my heart is. I love doing the strongman stuff. I love competing in strongman, and I want to get better at it. So I have to fight for that, and I have to fight for myself to get better at it. Do I hire a nutritionist to help me cut down while maintaining my strength? That's probably what I'm going to end up doing, because I have a coach, I have massage therapists, I have everything else in line. My eating has usually been left to my own devices, and maybe that's not helping anymore. Maybe I need to overhaul that. So that's a possibility. Outside of that, I don't know. All I do know is that my strongman season is over. Powerlifting will be ending in September, and I will be taking a long time off after that to do some soul searching and to try to figure out what's next. Again, I just want to say congratulations to Scott, Tim, and Paul on your podium finish, and then to Ryan, Tyler, and Mason for rounding out the top 6. You guys are headed to nationals. You're going to Calgary in October, and you're going to kick some serious ass and show those guys and show the rest of Canada what Ontario's strongest looks like. I want to say thank you to all my friends that came out. Rocco, thank you for being by my side again through this and keeping my head on my shoulders and trying to keep me in the game, even though there were ups and downs. Honestly, I don't know what I would do without you there by my side for those days. Thank you to my family for being there and making the trip up. And anybody else who checked in on me, anybody who tagged me and wished me luck. I may not have a massive following. I may not have millions of followers, but the followers I do have and the people that I do communicate with and the people that do reach out to me and wish me luck, that's who this is for. So thank you. And thank you for watching. It was another learning experience for me. It's not the end. So we'll see what's next. I also want to say thank you to my sponsors, OC Supplements in Shelburne. You can order online. Best selection of supplements around. It's where I get all of my supplements. I don't take pre-workout anymore. I still eat a lot of protein, however. Obviously, they have the best selection of protein. Family run, family operated. Thank you to K2 Milling in Bradford. Again, family owned, family operated. One of the reasons I look like I do is because I do love pancakes, and K2 Milling has the best flour you're going to find for any kind of baking, whether you need gluten-free, which they have, or if you're made of mostly gluten like I am, they have those options as well. Locally sourced, some of it right there on the property, grown, harvested, and milled right there into that product. Support Canadian, so support them. You can also order online from them. Thank you to Skull House Society, where I train, where I get my apparel. The best gym that I've had the pleasure of training at. Some of the best people to be around as well, no matter what happens. And I know when I go back to that gym in a little bit to go back to training, I know they're all going to be in good spirits about how I did, even if I'm not. So thank you to Skull House Society as well. And thank you to Randy, and big congratulations to Randy as well. She decided to do strongman this season, went on to do provincials and killed it. Finished second place in the novice lightweight women and put on an absolute show. Randy deserves all of her flowers for that. We've been training together for a long time. Up until this year, I had never done a show together. We've done 3. We did a powerlifting show together in February and then 2 strongman shows together. And it's been an honor for all of that. Thank you all for watching. I appreciate all the messages, and I look forward to talking to you guys again. So stay strong, everybody.